All right, what is going on, guys? Welcome to another edition of UPR AEW Dynamite Review. I am your host, Dan the Man, along with my co-host. I have with me to my, what would you be, my left. I have Matt with us. What's going on, man?
Hey guys, what's going on?
And I have Z is silent. What is happening?
What up? Listen, the former AEW host and the current AEW host are on the same show. And you know what? Matt, I've never met you. I've never been on the show with you. You seem very calm and reserved. So you two, I'm going to call this crew the calm before the storm because you guys are very reserved. I am very animated. I am over the top. So I will be the storm. You guys can be the calm. It's your show, Dan. Take it away.
All right, let's go ahead. Guys, this was arguably the biggest AEW Dynamite of the year so far, and I mean, arguably the biggest AEW Dynamite of all time. It had everything in it. This was the AEW Big Business Show. This was all centered around Mercedes Mone. And who has the? I hear some background noise here.
I don't have anything on.
It's not me.
Okay.
Maybe it's you.
Is it me? No, that's not. I don't have anything screaming.
Is that a kid?
Yeah, it's my son. But he was quiet a minute ago.
Okay.
Sorry, guys.
So, so this was arguably the biggest show of all time. We had some craziness happen here tonight. Guys, Mercedes Mone, this is arguably the biggest pro wrestling free agent right now. No longer free agent and has a new home in AEW. This is, AEW, it's no secret. Their women's division has been absolute garbage over the past 5 years. This, I know this sounds cliche, but this could be, and we've heard this before, the shot in the arm that they need. They have never had any talent that has been as recognizable as Mercedes Varnado on the AEW roster besides Phil Brooks. This is probably arguably their biggest star in the company's history. I mean, what do you guys think?
I will say I would almost agree with you. However, they treated Saraya like a big deal.
Yeah.
But the problem is they've also treated Taya Valkyrie like a big deal. See where she's at. They've treated who else? Just Deanna like a big deal. See where she's at right now.
Deanna, I think, is still in a good spot. I think Deanna.
I do not. And I say that as a Deanna Purrazzo fan. It's something about whatever. Tony's too strong right now. Regardless, and it's not in a Super Cena kind of way strong. It's just her character is just undeniable right now.
It is.
It's literally undeniable right now. And you can't take steam away from Tony, but you also need to give her a viable opponent. Two of the most viable opponents are not currently wrestling. That's Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter. So We don't know what's going on with Saraya. She was treated like a big deal. Social outcasts kind of were a big deal, and now they're not. Ruby Soho was treated like a big deal. Now
Yep.
she's playing second fiddle to right hand Ange or whatever. So
What is she even
you
doing?
are right in a sense. They needed. I do believe Mercedes bring a sense of star power that a void was left once Jade Cargill jumped ship to WWE. So I do agree with the name, the glitter of the name, but I think the ego of Mercedes Mone could possibly be, and not in a CM Punk kind of way, but like just how she rubs people the wrong way.
Negative, toxic, yeah.
Yeah, and that I think that'll be the downfall. But that's my thoughts.
Well, I mean, this is the honeymoon phase right now. A lot can happen. Let's try and live in the moment, and enjoy what we did get, and you know, regardless, I've never been a big fan of this tribalism in pro wrestling. As far as if you're WWE, you're anti-AEW. If you're AEW, you're anti-WWE. Et cetera, et cetera. I think that's BS. It's pro wrestling. Enjoy what it is, and
we should embrace it, with all the different companies and the different
absolutely,
characters.
absolutely. And I think that's a big thing. And right now,
one thing I wanted to touch on was her promo, right?
Yeah.
And as we talk in the chat, I have always been up on the precedent of when her and Naomi walked out of WWE, I took the side of WWE, simply because she didn't need to do that. And she kind of dragged Naomi into it. I thought Naomi was in a great space. And for those who don't, or if you have seen the Mike Knox show, with me and Mike.
You think Naomi's in a great space right now? Because I don't.
I think Naomi's in a great space right now because she has a married husband. She's married, and her husband is in one of the best storylines that they have.
Right.
And usually when you have husband and wives of different companies, one of them is not happy. Right. And granted, Impact was down in based down in Florida where they live, so that's easier for her, but her husband is all over the country, so now she gets to travel with her husband. That's got to take a toll. But my point in this promo with Mercedes is, when I say her attitude, the toxic aspect of it, right? She comes on, and by the way, she looks really beautiful,
She does.
and she genuinely looked happy. And I felt that just by looking at the screen, seeing her emotion, it did remind me of CM Punk coming back to pro wrestling. I popped a little. It's nice to see her on the screen again, but it could be one of those things for like how long. But she starts off very humble and then immediately goes into this cockiness, right? And then this quote that says, "You want to know why I'm here? Because I need to be here. I want to be here. AEW is the only place where this revolution can be global, and we are going to make that happen."
Right.
That screams to me, it speaks selfishness, right? Because we talk about the women's revolution of professional wrestling. We know who's responsible for it. It is the four horsewomen. It is Paige, and then the other ladies fall down the pecking order. But I feel like she just wants to be the spearhead of this. But we don't need a spearhead, because you have Dr. Britt Baker, you have Jamie Hayter, right? You have Hikaru Shida, right? Like those are the big three. You did have Jay Cargill, but she went the other way. But those three ladies, since the inception of AEW, have carried the company. So they don't really need Mercedes Varnado. But I get the star power.
I disagree with that. I disagree. I think they do need Mercedes Varnado.
Well, yeah, I'm saying the quote of the only place where this revolution can be global. That's like saying like you're going to be the person to do it. Like you couldn't. No, you didn't do it for New Japan.
I don't think that's what she means. I think what she means is AEW has ties to NJPW, to Stardom, to TNA, to all these other companies. And what she's trying to say is this can go global. And if there's somebody out there that you can think of, we can make it happen. And she knows that women's division has been down in the dumps since the inception.
Oh, it's no secret.
It's no secret to anybody. I mean, it's crazy how bad this division has been. And, but now when you look at it, like you said, when you talk about Britt Baker, when you talk about Saraya, when you talk about Hayter, and you talk about Stat, and Tony and Deanna, and now Monet, it's not a bad women's division anymore. Now they need to figure out how to use these ladies and use them correctly. And that's always been
how many world champions do you see out of what you just named?
Well, I think Stat's going to get there at some point. I think Deanna is going to become a champion within the next year. Monet will definitely get it within the next year. Britt Baker has been a champion. Hayter's been a champion. Storm is the champion. Saraya has been the champion. I think there's a lot there. There's a lot of meat on the bones.
I think the best woman that they have in that roster currently right now that is doing work but is not being shown is Athena. Athena has a streak that nobody in professional wrestling is talking about unless you're watching Ring of Honor every single week, right? But I catch up on Athena's work via Twitter. I'm not paying for a Ring of Honor, and I don't care enough to try to watch it. I've tried and I didn't like it, this rebrand. But Athena seems to be the one. I mean, look at row by row. Athena's the best in the first row. You got Britt Baker and Deanna Purrazzo in the second row, and Hikaru Shida. That's 4. Right?
Z, why don't you go ahead and zoom in a little bit? Zoom in a little bit on the top and the bottom.
So, let's go through Athena 1, Deanna 2, Britt Baker 3, Hikaru Shida 4.
Yep.
Jamie Hayter 5.
Yeah.
Julia Hart, you could throw in there. You could throw Julia in there.
Are we taking the TBS championship seriously?
I think Julia Hart
for argument purposes, that's 6, right? Nobody on this list right here. Nobody in this way. Maybe Mercedes.
Mariah May is pretty nice, man. Mariah May is
eye candy. Nobody's talking about her. Nobody's talking about her ring work though.
She's not bad in the ring though.
She's not, but we're never going to see that. Nyla Rose, Penelope Ford could be pushed as a serious but she's never on TV.
Queen Aminata, I think.
Queen Aminata has one of the worst records in AEW, and she just jobs out to people. Red Velvet could be taken as a serious threat, like she was in TNA, but of course she's out there jobbing to people every week.
Right.
Ruby Soho was treated like a big deal, and she's doing love angles. Saraya, we already talked about her. Sky Blue, she has one of the worst records, win-loss records, and they feature her every single week. Ty Mello, she's got a baby. Ty Valkyrie, nobody's checking for her. Thunder Rosa, probably amongst the best that she's on Collision. And then Tony Storm and Willow Nightingale. Willow Nightingale, yeah, she could be. I think Willow brings a kind of Bailey-ish attitude to the ring, and I think she needs to be a little bit more serious. I think that's probably what's wrong with her character, in my opinion. But looking at, as we went through that, I think it's about 12 max, give or take.
But if you look at TNA, look at WWE, all they really have is about 12, 15. They don't have that much either.
Yeah. It could be, but the thing is with them, it could be 15 per brand. So now you're looking at 20 to 30 women total.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Let's just look at this as a building division, and they definitely have a solid framework in place.
they can work with this. They just have to.
They can. You're absolutely right. They can.
So I think
WWE
that's what we need to think about here. And
Yeah.
they have a lot. There's a lot of meat on the bones. There's a lot of story to tell, and they can only
gotta get
add.
creative.
They can only add. Camille is still out there, and I think Camille inevitably is going to end up in AEW. You can also add a few others, but they have the stars for the women's division at this point, and there's zero reason to not have at least one women's match every show at this point, because
usually they're about two. Usually they do about two,
one,
or at least
one in the beginning, one at the end.
Yeah.
Usually.
Right.
So I want to know how long do you give it before before AEW, or I guess the bigger question is, I'm sure they probably will, but how long do you give it before AEW touches on the
Julia.
history between Mercedes and Saraya?
So I will answer that question, but Julia coming in, I think it's a possibility. I know she was talking with WWE.
Is that the tranny that
No.
Rick Steiner was mad at?
No, Julia is she's over in Japan.
She's at Impact. She's at TNA, right? I'm sorry for those that are maybe of that community. I'm very pro y'all, but that was the only way that I could say that. So let me Google her. I think I know what you're talking about, but let me just Google her real quick.
I think you're talking about Giselle Shaw, right?
Giselle Shaw. Okay, yeah. Okay. Yep. Now, yep. You're right. Proceed.
So I do think there is a high probability that Julia ends up in AEW. I think her time was there for AEW. The negotiations came and went. AEW is the next logical option.
Oh, okay. This chick.
Yeah, all right. So, oh man, let's see. That is Giselle Shaw. That's correct. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's jump in the show here, guys. What would you give Mercedes' debut at this point? How do you think her presentation went? Before we start jumping into the matches, what do you think?
B+ for me.
Okay.
I thought A-. I thought she cut a really good promo. She got the crowd's attention. People were excited. I thought she did a really good job. I wasn't a really big fan of her in WWE, but I think she can really change my mind.
I mean, let's be honest. She's a big personality. She thinks very highly of herself, and I mean, rightfully so. But if this thing actually does work and her personality doesn't get in the way of anything, this is going to be one of the best things that AEW has done. And I mean, they have her for 3 years, so this is going to be a
3-year deal. That's cool.
Yeah. So some really great things could happen here. I do think we will see a women's main event in AEW for a pay-per-view very soon with Mercedes in the fold.
They didn't have one before yet?
Not for a pay-per-view, I don't believe.
Pay-per-view.
Not for a pay-per-view. Let's see. Jeff. I give it an A for the first time. She seemed nervous, but it's first time since she's been in the ring. Yeah, I mean, it's been a while since she's been in the ring. So you can tell she was very excited to be there. They rolled out the red carpet. This is going to be, I'm excited. I'm excited for what she can do. She's one of my favorites. And her entrance music is freaking awful.
Oh, God.
But
oh, God. It's
Wow.
it. You know what her interest music gives me fake ass Trick Williams vibes.
Yeah.
Right? It's like it starts off for like 4 bars, and then it's like CEO, and I'm listening. I'm like, that's basically whoop that trick, but with like a rock riff to it. I'm like, what the hell is this shit? No, this is not the one. Y'all got to go back to the drawing board with this one. This is not the one. That's
No.
not the one. No.
I think they'll fix that. I do. I think they'll
Yeah,
fix that.
tweak it a little bit.
Yeah.
That music sounded like they paid somebody off SoundCloud within the hour before the show was coming on.
Off SoundCloud from freaking MySpace. That was
They
rough.
got the free trial.
Oh my gosh.
They got to get the rest of the instruments.
Oh man.
Oh god.
That was bad. All right, so let's get into the first match of the night. You have the AEW World Championship on the line. Samoa Joe against Wardlow. This is a really interesting match to have start the show. I thought this was going to be the main event. A little disappointed that it was not the main event, but
Great.
Before you go on, did it seem like the show run card was backwards? Like the bigger matches were first, and then the one.
This was. I agree with that. This was a great match. This would have been a great main event.
I thought so too. I mean, I get throwing your anger out there, but as the show went on, I was like, well, this definitely could have been in hour one, but it's on the back half of the show. I thought it made no sense, but I get it. You had Mercedes come out there first. You want to keep the eyes glued, so you put Joe and Wardlow in there, and then you get the Elite, and that basically rounded out your first hour. But yeah, I completely backwards in my opinion, but I get the logic of it.
Yeah,
absolutely, this was backwards. And if anything, you bumped Wardlow to the back of the line at this point, and I didn't see that was necessary at all. And it was so strange to me that Wardlow lost so cleanly. And that's been the knock on Wardlow, is you really had nothing for him, and now you have nothing for him again.
Yeah.
What are you doing with Wardlow? Why is he even there? I don't get it. I don't. It's the same thing over and over again. I don't know why they did this. I hate it. This was really bad on TNA's part. I'm sorry, AEW's part. Guys, what did you think?
Hold on a second. In the sense of the match itself.
I mean, just Wardlow losing, tapping out after being repackaged into this big monster. For what?
I think they just keep repeating the same thing over. Like you said, they keep repeating the same thing over again. I think they could have went a different direction with that, but I guess that was the most logical sense for them.
DQ finish would have been the best scenario in this match. Samoa Joe did not need to win.
It would have. Yeah, I can agree with that. I think that it could have, brought a little bit more to it, instead of just tapping out and it's over with.
The second failed group that Wardlow's a part of, when he was actually one of the main pushing points of AEW in the beginning, he didn't tap, right?
Yeah, he
tapped or he passed out.
No, he passed out. They rang him out.
Okay, so he's still strong in most people's books. If you don't tap,
right,
you pass out, you still look strong because you didn't give up. I think that he's fine where he is. It's just he's stuck in this conundrum where Swerve is undeniable right now.
Yeah.
Anybody that goes after Joe, not named Swerve Strickland, it's just he's got the hot hand right now.
Yep.
And what we know in professional wrestling, what we know in basketball, any other sport, you keep feeding the man with the hot hand the ball. And this is what AEW is doing. They're teasing us with it a little bit week by week because we're getting Joe and Swerve in the ring. Then we're getting Swerve trying to play mind games with Joe. Joe's playing mind games with Swerve. Then we'll get a match with them, including them, and then the cycle keeps repeating. So I think it's not a if they take the belt off of Joe, it's when they're going to do it. Because I think it's undeniable that Swerve is your next AEW World Champion.
Yeah, I agree with that. I do. Yep, Swerve Memphis is coming out after the match. Absolutely. Swerve will be most likely your next AEW champion at this point. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's move on here. The Elite against Penta, Eddie, and Pac. This wasn't
I didn't
bad.
like the promo.
No?
I wasn't a fan of the promo.
Why?
I don't know. It wasn't really strong. You know, it was kind of, wasn't funny either when they were coming down the escalator. I don't know. It was okay.
I mean, let's be honest here. Okada is probably one of the most fascinating things right now about the Elite and about AEW. This guy really genuinely is a star, and I think the only thing that's really held him back is his lack of understanding of the English language. And I mean, he's got the look, he's got the physique. He is a star type of guy. He just was born in Japan and wrestled in Japan, and that's just who he is at this point. But he is a fantastic get for the company. I think he is an interesting replacement for your Kenny Omega as of right now. I think this Elite is taking a very different, interesting direction. And I'm excited for where they're going to go. I think it's inevitable that they're going to hold, either some trios titles or some tag titles. Something's going to happen here. They're going to be holding some gold very soon. Now, Eddie Kingston, Penta, and Pac. I'm not an Eddie Kingston fan whatsoever. Anytime Eddie Kingston is on my television, I'm ready to turn it off. So, what was that?
I don't know. I just like it. Why don't you like him? Just curious.
I don't know. I don't find him believable. I just don't. People want to sit and talk about like mud show wrestling. Eddie Kingston just reminds me of a guy that you would put on like a backyard wrestling back in the year 2001, and Eddie Kingston would be the guy in backyard wrestling on that tape.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. He gives me that Brooklyn Brawler like vibe, honestly.
I just don't understand why people don't like Eddie Kingston. When
you know what it is.
He doesn't even look like he doesn't look like a wrestler, and most wrestling fans don't look like wrestlers. So why would you not be able to pretty much relate to him? Most wrestling fans drink beer, they smoke some sort of something, probably, which Eddie does. They're probably out of shape, which Eddie is. And somehow this man just keeps grinding, and he overcomes. I think that's a blue collar working man everyday struggle.
Yeah,
How can people not relate to that? I don't get it.
He looks He looks like he could be a plumber by day and a wrestler by night.
We got a
Nothing
Katie
against that.
fighting.
That's cool. I mean, I think that that's fine. Like I just don't understand how a man. I'm not smoking anything. I just don't understand how fans can't like. I've seen worse, right? I've seen worse push harder than Eddie Kingston, but I think with the difference with Eddie is, he's a great talker. He can hang on the microphone with the best of them.
Yep.
And I am a fan of a regular person just still doing it. Like you don't need to like $1 million to me. Obviously wrestling is a passion of his. And I think that's like, I think most wrestling fans, especially AEW fans, you look at that crowd, half of them look like Eddie Kingston, but yet people don't like Eddie Kingston. I just can't get down with it. That's all.
I get it. I've never been a fan of Eddie Kingston. I can't tell you why. I just don't like the character. Couldn't tell you.
I don't think he's a character though.
I think it's himself.
Yeah, I think it's. I don't know. I'm not saying I'm a huge Eddie Kingston fan. I like what he brings to the table, and that's a sense of realness. And not a lot of people possess that 100% of the time. And I believe that he is one of those rare wrestlers that do have 100% authenticity. Right? He's from New York. He's from the streets. He probably got a gun or some shit too. Like I believe he is what he says he is.
Yep. Yeah. And oh my gosh. And Katie, yeah, I mean, literally the first 15 minutes were all about talking about the AEW women's division and how they need to promote more women in AEW. I'm agreeing with you there.
They can't promote a division that's trash.
So they got to build the division. They got to build it.
TNA had the best. TNA for a while had the best women's division.
The knockouts.
There you go, Chris. I saw Eddie K under a bridge in Orlando somewhere asking for change.
That sucks.
I'm trying so hard to keep my ass in the seat.
I love it. Guys, we're going to cut to a quick commercial break. We'll be back in just a minute.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Unpopular Reviews. Name a word you might use to describe a dog that can also describe your partner.
Loyal.
Loyal is the number one answer.
I got nothing.
Ready to steal. So, who's playing Fast Money? Name a country with a large population.
China.
4 points. Congratulations, Team Baddie with a cup of Joe.
You guys are awesome.
In it tonight.
Baddie's cup of Joe.
Baddie's cup of Joe. Baddie's cup of Joe. Baddie's cup of Joe.
All right, guys. So we're going to jump right back into this. The Elite.
We never even talked about the match. We just talked about Eddie Kingston.
It's just been so bad.
It sucks because looking at the graphic, Eddie Kingston is literally the only person who does not belong in the picture. Like looking at all 6 men in the ring, right? Everybody looks like great. Like everybody looks great, and then you see Eddie Kingston here.
You're not wrong.
I'm looking at him like, look at all of these guys.
It looks photoshopped.
Five of these guys are like top tier wrestlers, right? Top tier ability, top tier selling, and then you have this guy who looks like he's ready to go to a bar.
No.
But I will say this. I thought that Eddie Kingston held his own with the likes of Okada and Matthew and Nicholas Jackson. And that's a respect factor thing. I think that when Eddie steps in a ring with people, with wrestlers that fans absolutely know are better than him, right? Like he still holds his own. The match that he had with Bryan Danielson was really good.
Yeah.
And not good just on Danielson's part. It was good on Eddie's part. So, like, if that can't get people to see that Eddie Kingston does have a passion for this, you're just hating. Executive consultant. Just hating. I'm just saying. But I thought the match was really dope. I am tired of them giving Penta El Zero just trash matches, man. Like, stop. And why have Pop come back and then feed him to the Elite?
That made no sense to me. That made
no sense.
No sense.
Strong. It's a strong showing by Okada. I would love to see a one-on-one between him and Penta. I think that would be money. I think Penta is top dollar. Like I love everything about Penta. Mike Knox seems to think that Rey Fenix is the better one. I think it's Penta. I would argue Penta's probably I think Penta is the best luchador in wrestling right now, and he's been that way for the past couple of months. But he keeps getting a start, stop with Tony Khan, so that kind of pushes him down the radar. But like I said, I thought the match was great. Again, this is 3 segments. You got the Mercedes, you got the World Championship match, and then you got this 3 strong showings from AEW right now. Go ahead. So this is to close out your first hour is still really great. So far, so good. The show was amazing at this point, right? This match actually surprised me. I didn't think it was going to be that great, but it was a good showing for the first hour to round it out.
Absolutely. I will agree. It's a great match. Kudos to AEW. They really pulled out the stops for this one.
Elvis pops up again. There you go.
Elvis.
Well, we got a chat room full of diabolical haters, spearheaded by Chris and Elvis. Jeez, golly.
I mean, hard to disagree. Oh man! All right, so Elite does win the match. We are going to be getting Okada against Kingston for the what is it? The
Continental.
Whatever, the Continental Championship. Oh, geez. Anyways, you have the International, you have the Continental. It's all the same. Whatever. Surprisingly, we do get a Will Ospreay sighting. Thought this guy went home to the UK. So we are getting Ospreay against Danielson at Dynasty. I'm excited for this. I think it's going to be a fun match. Ospreay doesn't miss, guys, at all. This guy, I could argue right now, he is the best all-around professional wrestler in the entire world. And I think it. I really do. I feel you guys probably feel another way.
When you say today, how far back are you going? You going like past year, past 6 months, past 3 months?
I'm going like this second today.
So right now.
Right now.
He's good, but is he the best? I don't know.
It depends on the style of wrestling that you like, I would say.
Look, Ospreay has shown that he can do any style of wrestling.
You know who also can do any style of wrestling? Ricochet.
Well, Ricochet decided to go a different direction in life, and this is where he is.
I'm just saying you're saying that Will Ospreay is the best wrestler today. The person that's on our screen right now there's a person in WWE that can do the exact same thing, that did the exact same thing, that met up with him in New Japan. They put on what some people think is a classic, if you like flippy floppy shit. And so I mean, if this like the main event player for AEW is a mid carder in WWE, how great is he then?
That's a good point.
I mean, but let's be honest here. WWE doesn't focus on the actual wrestling ability. They focus on the promos and the story and the deliverability of
The entertainment.
the story and the entertainment. That's not something that AEW really focuses on. They're focused more on the in-ring. WWE is all about talking. AEW is more about
even if, but I'm just saying, the guy that you're saying is the top guy, they is already in another company and still doing the same exact thing. It's like, so you see, this was like a 7-minute promo from Will Ospreay, which is kind of long TV time wise, right? Because he's really not talking about anything.
No, but he doesn't usually rant that long either.
No,
this was a little different for him.
I will say it. You know what? For me personally, it doesn't make me excited about a match with Danielson.
Oh, come on.
I'm going to be very honest, and I'm going to be very honest. This run with Bryan Danielson is very underwhelming. It is very underwhelming. Like,
how so?
Could you tell me 3 good matches he had since he came to AEW? 3, or not? Give me 3 feuds that were meaningful. That put him in a light. That put Danielson in a light to be still considered the best wrestler in the world. That this is why this promo, to me, it didn't hit like it should have, because who the hell is still considering Danielson the best in the freaking world? Nobody at this point.
I mean, he had some pretty good matches with Mox. He had some pretty good matches with MJF. He had some pretty good matches with Kingston. I mean,
was that in the past year?
Yeah. I mean, let's see. In the past year, I don't know when he got MJF. I think that was probably 2020.
I think that was 2023.
Okay.
Or 22. I think it was
late 2022.
That was 23.
Yeah. No, we're looking at last March. So last Revolution. Looking at Revolution of last year.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I would give you that, but
I mean, Danielson Omega, a Grand Slam. And then, I mean,
I don't even remember that. Jesus. I'm a Kenny Omega fan, and I don't even. Jeez, I'm so bad.
I was like, Vinny was running the program.
Okay. So I had to Google it. This was a random match. When did Bryan Danielson come to AEW? You know what year? Is it 2021? Okay, Grand Slam 2021. Okay. All right. Okay. Looking at the pictures, I kind of do remember it. Yeah, I'll give you that match as well. I don't know. Maybe it's the features of Danielson that I am not a fan of. Like he it's very sporadic. Oh, it's very sporadic of Danielson. So this is you're only as good as how much you're like regarded on TV, right? Like, people would say such and such is, great, but they're not on TV. So how great are they? Right? Like I get it. If they're treated like a big attraction, they don't need to be there every week. But then people will tell me workhorse like Will Ospreay is the best because we see more of him. So I think that's the dynamic that we're in a day and age now where it's like some people think that if you show up all the time, then you're better than somebody who doesn't show up all the time. But the person who doesn't show up all the time probably has a bigger contract. It makes more money because they're the attraction.
Right.
So it just I don't know if I would not want to be Will Ospreay working every single week. I'd want to be more Bryan Danielson where I can sit backstage and dictate how the show runs.
Well,
Should be a good match. If we got 2 weeks, we got like a month. We got a month
you got a month and a half.
The 22nd, right? The 21st.
21st of April?
Yeah. Okay. So we got roughly a month. Depending on how Danielson responds, will pretty much dictate if it can grab me or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no real heat here. This is just straight up just, hey, this is two great performers, wrestling dream match. Go at it. I'm excited for it. And we'll see what happens here. We'll see. There's a lot of time here for them to keep building on this. We're going to go ahead and we're going to jump to the following match, which was Switchblade Jay White against Darby Allin. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh. Now,
what's the reaction for? What was that reaction for? Like I don't know if that was like good or bad or just are you stressing right now? Do we have a new meme? Like you rubbing your head? Like what's going on?
I think I'm just still trying to figure out the direction of the gun. What are they? What are they now? The
Bang Bang Scissor Gang.
Yes. I'm just not getting the overall direction here. The right person won this match. I'm just thinking about, you have a team like the Guns, and, this was a team that once came out to Many Men. And
one of the greatest intros I've ever seen.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're a freaking joke right now. Like, I can't take them serious. Can you take them serious?
No.
I think anytime you come out to Many Men, you're pretty serious. And these guys are just back here chilling, just being a jag-off to Jay White. And I don't understand why. Either way, this could very well be Darby Allin's last match ever. Probably not, but got to add some dramatics to this.
I actually, for 30% of the time, me and Chris actually do agree on something. I gotta agree. I can take them seriously. I think that if you take away whatever affiliation to Bullet Club, right? Before they even got Bullet Club, they were pretty much a big deal. I still think they're a big deal. As far as rising tag teams, those guys are stars. they got it. They have the psychology, they have the look, they have the ring skills, they have every single thing that you could possibly want, and they're doing it without. Technically, on screen, it's without the cosign of their dad, but backstage, I'm pretty sure it's because of the cosign of their dad.
Right.
But it's not one of those cosigns where it's like, oh, they suck, but it's such and such son, so keep pushing them down there. Like, no, those guys are actually really fucking good. But, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I feel that's a typical Darby Allin match, though.
Vinny will tell you that's a great match because he
Going all
understands
out. And he goes all out.
Yeah.
Literally.
Vinny's still on cloud 9 over here. Look, no. Let me tell you guys. This match, this was absolute shit. Okay? I can't believe that they put this on TV. What are they doing? This is the same thing every week. And, you might as well just get me Doink the freaking Clown out here. Okay? What are we doing? Give me Michael Hayes. All right? I really enjoyed watching Kane go against The Undertaker for the 20th time on Dynamite. It was great. I loved it.
You got Tony Storm out here just flocking around.
Tony was flocking. He was flocking around. What are they doing?
Why have y'all not told that man the word is flapping? Why do y'all keep letting this man say flocking every fucking week?
Oh, man. This man is still on cloud 9, and that's why he's not here right now. Oh, yeah. Listen, guys. Can I be frank right now? I just want to tell you. I can't believe this big, fat pile of steaming shit that I was given tonight. This was terrible. I don't know why they do this. This is pro wrestling. I'm going to give it a B+.
You get an A+.
Oh god. Oh, I got legitimate tears right now.
Oh, man.
I've been around this guy long enough. This is tell me that wasn't Vince. Tell me that wasn't Vince.
That was Vinny. Oh god.
Oh man.
Oh god. Oh. Okay. Oh, that's a great clip. That's a great clip.
Don't get me going right here on Tony Storm over here, aka Gold Dust. All right. It's the same thing. What's different? It's Gold Dust. How is it not? The shit you guys like, I can't.
Oh god. Vinny is the Skip Bayless of wrestling. He doesn't like anything.
No.
But he continues to watch everything.
No. It was so terrible. It's an A. All right.
Okay.
All right.
What we got next?
So we're gonna go to Lion Hook.
Oh god.
We're getting Jericho and Hook against the Gates of Agony. Man, the Gates of Agony are even still in AEW is surprising to me. And they're on the cusp at this point of just being completely gone because Swerve is turning face quicker and quicker, and the Gates of Agony are just going to be a thing of the past. I don't understand the pairing of Hook and Jericho.
Hook is taking the place of Sammy Guevara.
Yeah, that's clearly what they want to do.
Who took the place of Kenny Omega? So
I just
they
want-
just keep replacing people. That's literally what it is.
I just want to know how long Jericho's going to go, man. Dude's getting up there.
Oh man, this is Jericho. I mean, I just want someone to explain to me, why does Jericho switch between gimmicks like every other week? I
Doesn't
mean,
he get? Doesn't the wrestlers get a say in what they do? Correct in AEW.
yeah, but I mean, you're going.
Yes. Oh,
He's going between like Judas Jericho to Lionheart to Painmaker. I mean, pick something.
To my understanding, and if this is my interpretation of what I've seen, right? So the Painmaker is the hardcore, the darker version of Jericho that when he needs to access it, he goes to the Painmaker. Very I think I've only seen Painmaker maybe probably less than 10 times in AEW.
Right.
Lionheart is the youthful Jericho, if you will, the one that he needs to tap into when he has I guess when he needs an extra boost to get his Hulkamania on. He can he's damn near unstoppable as Lionheart because that's what people love. The fans loved him as Lionheart, and the fans get behind him as this Lionheart character. And then Judas is just current Jericho, rock star Jericho. That's just the way I interpret it. I could be wrong, but that's kind of what I see on my TV screen. So
I agree.
Either way, decent match. Hook and Jericho pick up the win, which I don't think anybody doubted. Where does this go from here? Where does this team go? Are they a legitimate threat for the tag titles?
No, I think this is more so to get Hook back over to get him back in that world champion picture. For some reason, some way, he's gonna get the rub from Jericho. I think Jericho is gonna win, but he'll still get the rub from Jericho, and that's kind of what they're looking for at this point in time. I don't think that Jericho particularly cares for the tag team championships. I can't see it. I can't see Jericho. I don't think he has a big enough ego to want or need the world championship, but it's been quite a while since he's even challenged for it. So I think if he's at least in the conversation, he's good, but that's where it stops. Just a conversation.
Another accolade for him.
Yeah. Gates Agony, you put these guys in WWE, they're fucking stars.
Oh yeah.
They are exactly what they like over there. They're big, fast, agile, powerful, everything that you need. They can talk a bit, but I don't think with their personas that they need to talk. You could probably sit them with a manager and they'd be golden. Right. But it seems like the only time that they succeed is when they're paired with Brian Cage, in which they just lost their championships, but that they held that nobody realized that they were holding for 6 months.
Yeah. I mean, did anyone care? Probably not. It's just sad. I mean, hey, you know what? We have Dynamite in Canada next week,
Oh, Canada, eh?
Yeah, eh?
Hey.
We got this crazy I Quit match between Cope and Cage, part 3. I'm looking forward to that. So I do think that'll be a good match. I don't know your guys' thoughts on that, but
you want to know what Copeland Cage 3 is? You want to know what that is? It's the greatest wrestling match ever. Randy Orton versus Edge. That's what that is. That's what that is. You're gonna get all the fancy stuff that you want. You're gonna get all the nostalgia that you want because there's the history between them. And if it's the last time, they're gonna go all out, balls to the wall.
Right.
They have good chemistry. I think it's gonna be a really good match.
They do.
They
just
do.
they
have
know
good
they
chemistry.
they know each other. They know each other just way too forever. Like I think they know each move. It's great.
I think it's one of those things where it's and that is I guess the creative freedom that so many wrestlers are um excited to have when they're over at AEW, because it seems more so of uh the way that it perceives Tony Khan kind of is like, hey, what do you guys want to do with your character? And they're like, I want to do this. Okay, cool, that sounds great. And then, hey, we want to do this feud. Okay, well, what do you have in mind? And it kind of seems like Tony Khan just lets them, right? Like it just seems like he fanboys so much for the veterans that he just lets them. And then for the younger people, it's like, okay, you can try it, and then the next week they're not doing it anymore. So
Yeah.
I think this match will be great. Well, good. I'm not going to say great. They're two guys that are damn near 50. Let's pump the brakes here. So it'll be good, but for nostalgia purposes, the guys that grew up watching Edge and Christian, Brood, all that, it for people 30 and up, this will be every fucking thing, right?
Yeah.
29 and below, there's what the fuck is this shit? So it'll be
Who
a
are
split
these
crowd.
guys?
It'll be a split crowd, but I definitely think the 30-year-olds and up, we will enjoy this.
Oh yeah.
We'll fan out on it.
We're gonna see some craziness. All right, now it's time for the main event. That just sounds so weird to say, knowing that Willow, Nightingale, and Riho were your main event. Oh geez. I'm trying here, guys. So Mercedes Mone, and I understand why they did this. I understand it now. Mercedes wished Riho good luck. And they were obviously foreshadowing Mercedes at this point. And we got a decent match, Riho and Willow. I am not the biggest Willow fan. I understand that she has this immense popularity. I'm also not the biggest Riho fan. I think this really does go to show where their women's division was to where it is going. Nightingale does pick up the victory, which we all kind of saw coming after last week with Statlander. Julia Hart, Sky Blue come out, attack Nightingale. Mercedes decides to come out, make the save, and goes after Julia Hart. This is kind of, I think, what a lot of us saw. A title picture, thrust right in there for Mercedes. She's going to go after the TBS champion, and she's going to beat the TBS champion. She's going to have a pretty lengthy run with that TBS title. Because you're not going to take Deonna out of the women's title picture at this point. And this is the next step. I fully expect. I don't know if Dynasty is going to be it, but Double or Nothing, Mercedes will be the TBS champion. I do believe that. What do you guys have to say about this?
Matt, go ahead.
I don't really know, to be honest.
All right.
What do you think?
My gripe.
Somebody's gonna get that in their throat.
All right, because I knew immediately I was going to go on a rant, and I feel like I've been ranting all show. So, my gripe with this, I get why Willow's there. They want to kind of foreshadow and build on the match that Willow and Mercedes had, in which Willow wrestled a really strong match. But clearly they're going to let Mercedes go over. Thus, like so the tree of woe in AEW storylines, right? You got Chris Statlander and Willow Nightingale teaming up and under this sort of pseudo faction, right? That kind of can't get right, but Willow's the kind of like one that actually is getting right, but Statlander isn't. But
Right.
they need to get on the same page, and Willow's winning, and Chris Statlander isn't, right? So when she goes up against Mercedes, she's going to lose, thus halting all of her momentum. Trash. Now, y'all keep building up Riho like she's some big deal. She looks like she's 12 and she's picking up wins, and then automatically she picks up a loss for no reason, and then she has to take this horrible finisher from Mercedes Mone. She needs to trash this finisher. Like we saw her botch the finisher in New Japan. She needs to get rid of it. That is one of the worst finishers that I've ever seen in my life. You can't. When you talk about finishers, you want a finisher that you can do whether you're 20 years old or you're 40 years old. Or you don't have to pick everybody up. She can't do that shit to Willow Nightingale's big ass. She can't do that shit. Like, why would you come up with that? Like, no, that's trash. The match was good. The match was good.
Yeah.
The match isn't my gripe. My gripe is, where do we go from here? Because then you have Julia Hart come out there. Clearly she was going to get set up for Mercedes Mone to
Right.
But this, you make Julia Hart look strong every single show, turning the lights out. Her and the girl with the worst losses, the most losses in AEW, in Sky Blue, but gets featured every single week on every single show. They look strong every single week, but then you just made them look weak by having Julia Hart take this horrible finisher from Mercedes Mone. I did not get any placement. I didn't understand any placement as far as character arc goes for any of the women except for Mercedes Mone. That's it. It just didn't make sense to me. I don't feel like I'm nitpicking in that, because that, like, AEW, like, if they still had their rankings, in which they quietly disappeared from the ranking system. I don't know if anybody noticed that. They quietly disappeared from it. If they still had the ranking system, they would have tried to convince you that Riho and Willow Nightingale was like 2 and 3 on the damn women's division card. They would try to do that to you. But people that have been following these stories every week would lead you to believe that, that don't sound right. So it's just, where do we go from here? From Riho to Willow to Julia to Sky. We don't know what happens to the 4 women that have been there before Mercedes. All we know is Mercedes is going to get a feud, probably with Julia or Willow. Her and Willow are going to meet up again. She's going to get a dub. She's probably going to get the dub over Julia. She's going to get a dub over all 4 of those women at any point in time. Like, so we already know that. It's just, I didn't like it. I didn't like the ending. I thought it was trash.
Yeah, I can understand that. I can. But we knew the show was all about Mercedes, though. So,
worst kept secret, besides Cody Rhodes showing up at WrestleMania.
So that was the way. Matt, do you have any kind of anything to add to this?
I thought it was a decent match. You know, it wasn't that bad. I got through half of it. No, meaning like the last half, like when I was trying to finish up before the show, like I didn't. From what I saw, I thought it was pretty good. That's all I meant. I didn't see the first maybe 5 minutes of it.
Well, I don't know that you missed a whole lot of it.
You know.
Well, I mean, guys, what would you rate this show?
I give it a B+.
Yeah, taking my nitpicking aside, I'm definitely. It was one of the more enjoyable AEWs that I've watched.
Yeah.
And me watching, I mean, pretty much every single day of the week, there is some sort of wrestling that I'm watching, whether it's a documentary or, YouTube or catching up on something or a special. Like every day of the week, there's some sort of wrestling. And I will say, besides, actually, I would almost, you know what? I probably would put this just as or more enjoyable than Monday Night Raw.
Okay.
But that's only because SmackDown has not appeared yet. But
Right.
SmackDown will probably be the show of the week for professional wrestling, as it's going to be going into WrestleMania. You got The Rock, you got Roman. It's hard for AEW to compete with that weekly, but it still was a very solid showing for AEW. I think that coming off the heels of Sting's retirement, right? That was a pretty big show. And AEW needed to come out. They needed to come out pretty heavy. And I thought that, oh my God. I thought they needed to come out pretty heavy, and I thought this was a perfect showing for them. They called it big business for a reason. I didn't agree with the name of it, but it was a pretty good show. I don't really have anything bad to say about it overall outside of my nitpicking.
Okay. I hear you on that. All right, guys, we're going to do a quick little commercial. We're going to come back with my final thoughts, and we're going to wrap up here. We'll be right back with you.
The following announcement has been paid for by the New World Order.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy, the Almighty Dice Man, a.k.a. the Z Aside, and I'm back. What I like to call 2 words for you, or 2 sweet. Let's jump right into it. Ryback says Caitlyn left WWE over 10 years ago because of Triple H. Come on now, let's pump the brakes. Anything that Ryback says about WWE, we're not believing anything. Hashtag good dog damn. We don't give a fuck about no damn Ryback. 2 words for you. You already know the rest. Now, on the 2 sweet side of things, The Rock is set to wrestle more than just WrestleMania 40 this year. I'm going to believe that, and I'm going to say that's too sweet because we're seeing it right in front of our eyes every week on SmackDown. Good job with that, Dirt Sheets. Now, moving on to 2 words for you. Mercedes Mone says, and I quote, "I handled walking out of WWE like a CEO." A CEO? 2 words, Mercedes. You're not bigger than any company that you're signing with. You need to stop that right now. That's 2 words. Now, 2 sweet. Seth Rollins is back in the ring at a WWE live event. It looks like his knee is healed enough. I don't know, but it looks like we getting Seth Rollins in some practice matches on the live event. So, 2 sweet that. We like that. That's good for professional wrestling. Now, 2 words for you. Sheamus is AEW bound after deleting his Twitter account. Don't y'all realize it's the internet? Sometimes people get tired of it. So just because the man deactivated his Twitter, he's all of a sudden going to AEW. Why not just change his name? What? Come on now. Like, 2 words for you. Y'all already know. Now, 2 sweet side of things. Vince McMahon's still making money with TKO. That man just sold a bunch load of shares. And he made it's a whole lot of money. Whole lot of money. It's 2 sweet. That shout out to Vince McMahon who's still getting that money. But them allegations still make you a fuckboy, Vince. Now, last side of the 2 words for you. Paul White says AEW transition was the greatest thing that happened to him. You were part of the NWO. You were held as the son of Andre the Giant. You held multiple world championships. But going to AEW where you're barely used is the greatest thing to happen to you. Paul White, 2 words for you. You know the rest. Now, moving on to the last thing for 2 sweet. Tama Tonga will debut. Maybe at Mania, but eventually he's going to join that bloodline and that stipulation against the bloodline. If Cody wins at Mania, he's going to appear. He's going to appear. He's going to be the new member of the bloodline. You heard it first here from the Almighty Dice Man. Now, that's my time, y'all. Everybody, make sure you get on the train with me and say, fuck Dave Meltzer. You know what I'm talking about? I'll catch y'all next week. Now, respect it.
Wow. That was compelling television. All right, guys. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to send us home here. This was the shot in the arm that AEW needed. This was the Dynamite of the year for them, at least thus far. This could be the Dynamite of the year. There might not be a better show than what they put out here. I think there will, but it's going to be hard for them to beat. They were able to secure the biggest free agent in pro wrestling. They were able to bring in a lot of new talent, which they severely needed. Their roster still is very much bloated. and there's going to be a lot of dead weight that's going to just fall off. AEW is in a weird transition right now, and they are growing. As weird as that sounds, they are still growing. They are getting bigger. They are getting better. This will only be a blip for them over the past few years. This was a building block. Tonight, I feel, is the turning of the corner for AEW. And if they don't start getting the million plus that they so think they should be getting, I don't know when it comes, because this was the best episode they have had in probably 52 weeks. And it might not reflect come the ratings, but it should reflect next week. And they need to continue this trend, because they have the momentum right now. They're getting everything that they need. They're getting better. They're getting stronger. Do not worry about what WWE does any longer. Worry about what AEW does. Worry about what AEW can do, and worry about doing a better product. That is the best advice I can possibly give to AEW as an avid AEW watcher fan. Do better for your product, better for your fans. Do not worry what another company is doing. Consistent storylines. You're building it right now. You're doing it. You're doing a great job tonight. Do not let next week go in vain after this week. Do the right thing. Continue on. And for goodness sake, do something about Collision. It was once your best ever. This was your best television show. And it is now basically a 2-hour rampage. Do better. That is my thoughts on AEW Dynamite. That is my thoughts on AEW right now in the State of the Union. I am excited for what they're coming to do. I'm excited for what they could do. Jeff knows. Jeff understands. Chris.
That sounded like it came from the heart.
That's very powerful.
It was. You definitely were campaigning for AEW, and I will say that while I am the head coffee pourer of WWE, I do like all aspects of pro wrestling. It's just ever since the day I was born, WWE has been the gold standard. You can't do. Oh my God, what is going on? Oh my God.
Did anybody hear Dan talk for 5 minutes about this? You know, he was so serious. I was like, what is going on?
You sound like Chucky.
I'm like Dice Elliott crying legit tears. This shit was funny as fuck.
It did sound like you were pleading with it. You were pleading with AEW.
This man said when I come back, I'm going to give my final thoughts. I'm like, okay, he's going to be 10 seconds saying why I get an A. This man wrote an essay to Tony Khan about what he wants for the chase.
Are you done?
My man, I'm gone.
Okay. Before I was interrupted. While I am the head coffee for WWE, WWE has been all I've known since the day I was born, right? However, I did like WCW. But looking back at WCW as I am now, I can't believe I used to like that shit that was from 96 to 99. Some of it was some of the worst wrestling you will ever see in the history of professional wrestling. Don't believe me? Look at the bloodbath that Vince Russo tried to do on Kevin Nash, and he completely missed him. You can't, some of the stuff you can't argue with. However, AEW, to rebuttal what you were saying, Dan, AEW is going down a dark path. They are hailed as WCW 2.0. It is, and Collision and Rampage are a shade of WCW Thunder, which is probably the worst wrestling program ever. Worse than NXT Level Up. There, it's pretty bad. But AEW is with the rumors of morale being down, with people being upset about creative contracts, wanting to get out of it just doesn't look good. And what Tony Khan needs to do, he needs to call up Scott D'Amore. He needs to call up Scott D'Amore, because if anybody can help save AEW, it is Scott D'Amore. It's not wrestlers that are still active and head of your creative team, i.e. Daniel Bryan,
Right.
i.e. Chris Jericho. That's not the way you do things, i.e. Billy Gunn. That's not the way you do things. Is in my opinion, it's not. But for tonight, this is a great show. This is a great foot forward going off of the momentum of Sting's last match.
The building block.
Yeah, so to keep AEW in a positive light for 2 weeks straight, kudos to them and kudos to the show. I like I said, outside of my personal gripes with the show of what I like to see in my professional wrestling, I have absolutely nothing bad to say about this show, and I have been very critical of AEW. I will continue to be very critical of AEW. That's just a fan of me. I don't know it all, but I do know what I like in my professional wrestling. That's
right. It. Yeah, fair. I think we all just want to see the product do better. I mean, that's really all it comes down to. We just want to see AEW do better, and we know they're capable of doing better. It's just a matter of doing the things necessary to be better.
Oh, one thing I wanted to add. My salute. EC threw me off. So you mentioned Mercedes signed a 3-year deal, right?
That is what I've heard. That is the rumors right now.
Which is usually the initial deal that most
right.
people sign. Let's say 3 years go by. Do people still care for Mercedes Varnado if she returns to WWE?
I would say so.
I asked that because, and I think, and this is what I wanted to hit home with my point about the first segment in her interview, in her promo. I think that she realizes that the women now in WWE have surpassed her. Period. I'm sorry. Take away her accolades. Those women have surpassed her. Rhea Ripley has surpassed her. Bianca has surpassed her. Nia Jax has surpassed her. No, you can make that face all you want to. It's what you see on your TV right then and right now. If you're going to tell me Will Ospreay is the best wrestler because it's what you see on your TV now, then you can't put Daniel Bryan in the conversation. But right now, in this year, Nia is strong. Rhea, strong. All of those top women in that division, strong. She knows that she goes to AEW, she can be the top one, and she doesn't even have to do anything, right? But going back to WWE in 3 years, Rhea's going to be barely 30. Bianca's going to be maybe 36. Charlotte, Becky going to be in their 40s. Bayley's going to be 37.
I mean, keep in mind, they're have a child away from not wrestling anymore. You know what I mean? Anything can happen. And that's just the truth of things. Is that's why women wrestlers are so vastly different than men. Is women,
not to mention Jade Cargill as well.
Yeah, I mean, women want to go, and a lot of the women want to have children. They want to have families, and once you have a child, it's not the same anymore. It's just not. And Becky Lynch is kind of the outlier in all of this, but I don't know that Becky Lynch has another 5 years in her.
I don't think so. I barely would
agree.
think that Charlotte has either.
Yeah,
But I
She
do
gets
think
injured a
Bailey.
lot.
I think Bailey has another 4, maybe 5 in her.
I could see that.
I mean, at 34, it's weird because you think that when most people in athletics, they hit their peak between 25 and 30, right? But in professional wrestling, it's more so like 29 to like 35 or some shit like that. Like it's mid 30s when you hit your wrestling prime because you understand the psychology and shit. Like it's weird.
I think it's also the type of the schedule too. Depends, if you want to travel 250 days out of the year and wrestle, just depends on that. Depends on what wrestling company you work for. But with WWE, it's a treacherous schedule, as you know. They're in a different city every day. So
yeah,
Absolutely.
but as you said, Dan, this is a great pickup for AEW. Let's not take anything away from it. Mercedes she's a big deal. We won't know how. I mean, CM Punk was a big deal too, but we saw how that panned out. So let's take it week by week and see. Happy birthday, Charmaine!
Happy birthday!
I will make sure to wish you happy birthday on the SmackDown review show.
Absolutely. All right, guys, let's go ahead and let's take this thing home. I'm Dan the Man. I'm with my co-host Matt. He is silent. We want to thank you for watching the AEW Dynamite review show. If you do not appreciate AEW Dynamite and you have taste for other things, we're more than just Dynamite. But keep in mind, we are here every Wednesday right after Dynamite. We also have on Thursdays is this Thursdays or is this Fridays? The TNA review show. We have the SmackDown review show every Saturday at noon with Zia Silent and Vic. We have the Collision review show Saturday nights after Collision. We have the Mike Knox show. And this is on Mondays. We do have the NXT review and results show every Tuesday preceding NXT. And I think that about covers it, guys, right?
That is it.
We do have the Raw review show as well every Monday with Mr. Evil Dose and the executive consultant. And please go ahead, follow, subscribe, Unpopular Review on Facebook, Unpopular Review on Twitter, which is now X, Unpopular Review Entertainment on YouTube, Unpopular Review on Twitch, Unpopular.review on Instagram, and Unpopular Review Wrestling on YouTube. Go ahead, give us the subscribe. We are here. We appreciate your time. Thank you so much. I am Dan the Man, along with my co-hosts, Zia Silent and Matt. Thank you so much. We will see you next Wednesday for the review of AEW Dynamite in Toronto. Take care, guys.
Have a good night.